This is Weather or Not.
All right, welcome back to this Wednesday edition of Weather or Not. It is now December, and boy, what a cold start to the day it has been.
Yeah, cold for sure. December is what we've been saying. Not to mention also Christmas around the corner.
All decked out. I love it.
All right, let's go ahead and start. Feels like riding a bike, getting back to it. And good news, a little bit of a warm-up. The warmest day on tap for tomorrow.
Very brief warm up before we do start to bring in that next blast of cold air. Another round of Arctic air starts to come in as we finish up the week. And then we're also talking about, well, at least the opportunity for a slightly more active weather pattern as we head into next week.
Yeah, and of course we've been talking about, once again, the first alert, that cold that we felt this morning, only one record tied. So typically with climatology, that happens. If it's still a tie, it will go down as a record. So Florence, 20 degrees. We did have some teens, though, up in Darlington County. 18 was the coldest in Hartsville.
And I saw 18 also in Kingstree this morning. So it was definitely on the cold side. Interesting fact, though, that 20, the record, old record, set in 1989. And interesting parallels to a very special December of 1989. It's always interesting, not saying anything, but it's interesting when patterns line up and you see, you know, okay, well, it was really cold this time in December '89. It's really cold this December. Some very broad similarities, but
fingers crossed.
We'll see.
Let's go ahead. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you can quickly find that. I can promise it. Let's talk about that brief warm up as we go into the forecast. We'll talk about temperatures. Going to be comfortable tomorrow morning compared to what we've been dealing with.
Yeah, kind of an interesting thing playing out overnight tonight. We may actually see temperatures bottoming out late this evening and around midnight, then actually start to climb a little bit so that by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, compared to this morning, this isn't too bad. Mid to upper 40s on the beaches, low 40s inland, and a gusty wind develops heading into tomorrow afternoon. And look at what that gusty wind does.
Yeah, that southwest wind going to really ramp us up. Temperature is going to be sitting in the low to mid 60s. Winds also 20 to 30 miles per hour, so make sure Santa is tied down if they're inflated through the day. But let's also talk about the short window because another blast of cold air comes in as we go into Friday.
Yeah, our next strong cold front blows through heading into Thursday evening. So after the 60s Thursday afternoon, look at Friday morning. We're once again back into the 20s. Everybody below freezing with low to mid 20s inland, mid to upper 20s near the beaches, and there's still going to be a breeze blowing Friday morning. So that is certainly going to feel cold, and that chill takes us into Friday afternoon. Look at those high temperatures Friday.
40s around the area. The wind's still going to be relevant too. Very similar to probably what we saw on Tuesday, where wind chills, they're going to be in the 30s. Still going to be a wind lingering around. Let's take you into the weekend because that's still going to be the story as we go into Saturday morning. Even colder in some spots. That main axis of colder air works in. Temperatures lower 20s for the PD. Meanwhile, for the beaches, upper 20s. And temperatures continue to struggle even as we show you highs here now on Saturday and Sunday. We'll get a little bit of a rebound when it comes to that Sunday, but I'm going to predict and give the first alert. If you haven't started yet, you'll probably start to feel some maybe drainage coming in. That typical seasonal temperature trend is going to start hitting people by this weekend.
Yeah, it is. Ups and downs and all around and all over the place, plus the fact that we're all Christmas partying like crazy. And it is the season to be sick.
It happens every time. Speaking of which, we've been really fortunate in the way of cold fronts that have been working through. These have been dry, but we'll get a cold front next week that will actually bring in our best rain chance.
We'll bring in a couple of rain chances, sort of broad brushing that 30% chance in here for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. I think we'll probably adjust some of these chances up. It's just a matter of kind of when. We're just sort of fine tuning. We're in that time of the year, though, where we get what I call the dirty warm-ups. Usually around here in the winter, it gets cold, and it's like it has been crystal clear, not a cloud in sight. But as soon as it warms up, you start getting into the 60s and 70s this time of the year. Usually brings with it clouds and rain chances, and that's what we see next week.
And we'll adjust that too. It looks like one of those days is probably going to be a little bit more dominant in the rain chances. We'll kind of figure that out as we go through. All right, let's take it coast to coast and look ahead here as we go into that forecast. But before we look ahead, let's talk about those temperature extremes. We talked about a warm up. We're not going to be this warm. 88 there, the Catalina foothills of Arizona. And our friends coming in again in Utah, Jamie.
There it is, Peter Sinks. Interestingly enough, we were closer to Peter Sinks' temperature this morning than we were to Catalina foothills.
Yeah, they were sitting there in the 60s across portions of the Southwest. All right, let's take it coast to coast. Obviously, we've been talking about the system that's been working through, and we'll go into your Thursday. You'll notice for us, we're looking at some clouds, partly cloudy skies, but eventually that front will move through, dry for us. Temperatures on Thursday going to be sitting in the 60s, but if you look off to the northwest, yeah, Asheville 43, Nashville 33, Charlotte sitting in the 50s. That cold air will continue to funnel in as we go into the weekend.
Yeah, and this next cold front likely going to bring another opportunity for a little bit of snow for the North Carolina mountains. Earlier this week, though, this made me so happy. So many parts of North Carolina finally managed to break the 1,038-day snow drought, especially northeast of Charlotte, up Interstate 85, Concord, Huntersville, up towards Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Wake Forest. Those areas picking up a dusting of snow, in some cases up to an inch, inch and a half in a few isolated spots, but even caused some slick roads in spots where snow ended, temperatures dropped into the 20s. Yeah, the not so pretty side of the snow that came down. That was, Monday night into Tuesday morning.
Yeah, and some schools were actually closed in some spots, believe it or not, because of some of the snow, a little bit of something they haven't seen in the past. Let's take you now to the northeast where we talk about an inch of snow. How about several inches, feet of snow over the week there? It has been lake effect snow, and that's going to continue across portions of Pennsylvania into New York. You're going to be looking at, once again, colder air coming in, and lake effect snow is going to continue as we go throughout your Thursday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The cold air that comes in here Thursday evening into Friday going to be blasting through there during the day Thursday, and that does, once again, crank up that lake effect snow machine and bring in the cold. Notice Erie, PA, right at the freezing mark. They picked up, 3-4 feet of snow back over the Thanksgiving weekend. They're going to pick up some more. Same thing in and around Buffalo. And look at those cold temperatures, highs in the 20s and 30s. Look at Bluefield, West Virginia, a high on Thursday of only 19 degrees.
Yeah, the teens certainly in as that chill settles in. Let's take you to some of that video of the lake effect snow that was falling. How about just piles of snow on the ground there in Erie, Pennsylvania, not to mention snow also blanketing portions of Syracuse, New York. And we've talked about it, and Jen will have this coming up in a little bit, but the wind is a key component to this as it basically takes that cold air over the warm water, and just a matter of miles can really dictate who gets the most when it comes to this lake effect snow.
Yeah, those lake effect snow bands are amazing. There were lake effect snow water spouts over the weekend, thunder snow, and the one report I saw, highest report I saw was 8 inches of snow that came down in just over an hour.
Oh, man.
We haven't had 8 inches of snow in the last 10 years, and they're up there getting 8 inches in an hour. Yeah, gotta love that lake effect snow. Let's take you into the Midwest now, where you can see some of that lake effect snow continuing there across parts of Michigan, up by Sault Ste. Marie, Grand Rapids, Saginaw, picking up some of those off and on snow showers. Otherwise, things pretty quiet there across the middle part of the country, but also quite cold as, again, that next round of Arctic air moves in starting tomorrow.
Yeah, 19 degrees at Bismarck for the high temperature. How about as you go into Minneapolis, you're talking 19 degrees as well. Duluth, 17 degrees in International Falls. Yeah, the teens continue. You look at the 20s across Illinois and into portions of Indiana.
You know what the nickname of International Falls is?
I don't, but I knew you had a fun fact coming for you now.
This is International Falls, lovingly referred to as the icebox of the nation.
Oh, I've actually heard that.
Yeah,
I really have heard that. Yeah, the icebox.
Living up to their name for tomorrow afternoon with that high temperature of 14 degrees. This is the most boring part of our coast-to-coast segment, the Southwest. Nothing
happening. High pressure continuing. Maybe a shower if you're lucky, but yeah, don't bank on it. Temperatures once again going to be sitting in the 70s. We'll get some 80s down in the deep portions of Texas, but 79 in Phoenix. And yeah, that quiet weather continues at least for another day or two. You'll notice, though, a developing low pressure system will start to bring in some showers closer on Friday as we go to Seattle, into portions there of Washington as well. But really quiet as well. Temperature-wise, looking pretty good for Thursday out in the West Coast, Jamie.
Yeah, not a lot going on. Showers and 40s in Seattle. Yeah, big surprise, big surprise. Some 30s once you get into the western part, Spokane, Washington, just above the freezing mark, heading into the day on Thursday. Let's talk a little bit more, though, about that lake effect snow. Jenna's weather workshop focusing on lake effect. And if you're not really from the area, well, it's maybe kind of hard to figure out, okay, what's causing this insane snow? Jenna Greenhill standing by now with a breakdown of how lake effect snow works.
We've seen lake effect snow start up now that we are in the winter season, and we will continue to see it as we head throughout the next couple of months. Now, lake effect snow, we're going to time out this. We'll be seeing some as we head through the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow as bands of heavy snow work on shore from the Great Lakes. Now, this is all happening as cold air starts to move over the warm waters. That warm moisture will start to rise and move into the clouds. Clouds will start to build out, and that's when that snow is going to start to drop. Now, wind direction is key as lake effect snow is going to move onshore. As it moves onshore, it'll start to dump that heavy bands of snow. Depending on where that wind is, you could see some sunshine, and then if you look into a completely different direction, that's where you can see that heavy lake effect snow. And that's really all thanks to the warmth and the moisture that we are seeing in the Great Lakes. As that rises, that's when all of that snow starts to build out. For Weather or Not, I'm meteorologist Jenna Greenhill.
And you can really get some just insane snowfall rates.
And it even comes down to something as far as what we call the fetch. The distance of the water that cold air transports, the winds, a very key component, not only to who gets it, but how much is going to fall.
Yeah.
I don't envy those people at all.
It's a life goal to chase a lake effect snowband before I'm dead. So I'm going to try to do that.
Well,
try to do that because sometimes they get literally a mile or two wide. One side the sun is shining, the next side it's snowing at 6 inches per hour.
And it looks just unreal if you're out there looking from it. Let's also talk about something that we have coming up on Friday to get us in the spirit. It is our Are You Seriousmas? The people at Grand Strand Brewing Company have been so great. They even said, hey, we're going to do happy hour a little bit later, and we're going to do 50% off select drinks, select food. It's going to be a party, and then we're going to do our podcast.
Yeah, happy hour is my favorite hour every day, plus the podcast. Yeah, we're going to be starting that podcast at 7 o'clock. You don't need any reservations. Come on out. You can certainly come way before 7. We're actually going to be out there through the afternoon, starting at 4 o'clock, doing some live weather reports, getting some excitement building there for Are You Seriousmas, our season finale, season finale. We're not done. We're not done. We're just taking a break until after the holiday. So again, that's coming up this Friday again at Grand Strand Brewing Company. 7 o'clock is the podcast. We want to get you on the podcast. We've got some swag that we're going to be giving away, so it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the setup. Let's talk about also hopefully some people that might be coming out to the podcast. It's the ones who send us the photos. Let's go to our See It, Snap It, Send It. I've been sending out invites. In fact, I sent an invite to Jim O'Neill to the podcast. He told me he's looking to come on Friday night, but how about the photos that he sends in the morning? Beautiful photos there. And can we also say too, Jim, Kathy, Mark, they've been out there in the 20s every single morning, dedicated to get photos like this.
They have indeed. This morning it was 25 degrees, and I was getting the tweets that they were out there taking those beautiful pictures. So again, thanks for that. Let's go to our next one here this morning. And it is going to be, oh no, we don't have another one. All right.
Let's go to our QR code. This is our See It, Snap It, Send It QR code. You scan this, it'll take you to the app. At the very bottom of the weather app, you will be able to once again get there and submit your photos straight from your phone, from your camera roll, and hopefully you'll be able to get out and enjoy a little bit warmer weather. Maybe send us a photo tomorrow on Weather or Not.
Yeah, so that'll do it for this Wednesday edition. We will be back tomorrow with the latest on the milder weather briefly, and then coming to an end. And then the weekend, a lot of big stuff going on this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of Christmas parades. We'll have much more on that later this week. But for now, you'll have a fantastic Wednesday, and we'll see you soon.